American people don't know about this. Well, it's time they learn.
I think we always wondered why did they think it was right or just to do what they did was, to take our lands and to push us off our lands and try to eliminate us as a people.
Bull, 1493, 1 year later. If there are no Christian nations in this new land you have discovered, I declare those lands to be empty. Terra nullius, very old Roman law that had been exercised in Africa, India, Europe. Further, if there are people there and they are not Christians, they do not have a right of title to land. They have only the right of occupancy.
4th of 1493, Pope Alexander VI says that it is pleasing to the divine majesty that barbarous nations be subjugated. The Latin word is deprimantur, which means to reduce, to cast down or press down, to hold down. And it also states that it is pleasing to the divine majesty for the Christian empire to be propagated. Pope Alexander VI stated, "We trust in him, from whom empires and dominations and all good things proceed." The Holy See of the Catholic Church issued many such documents even before 1493. For example, in 1452, Pope Nicholas V issued a directive to King Alfonso of Portugal to go to the western coast of Africa and to invade, capture, vanquish, and subdue all Saracens, pagans, and other enemies of Christ, to reduce their persons to perpetual slavery, and to take away all their possessions and property. That directive was reissued in 1455, 1456, 1481, 1493, 1506, and 1514.
Ginsburg cites the doctrine of Christian discovery. She cites, "Under the doctrine of discovery, fee title to the lands occupied by Indians when the colonists arrived became vested in the sovereign, first the discovering European nation, and later the original states and the United States." She cited this from a 1985 case also involving the Oneidas, as a footnote when she writes that the Oneidas ceded all of their lands to New York State in 1788. Now, there is no attempt in this definition of the doctrine of discovery to explain how this fee title simply became vested in the discovering European nations, just that it does. This legal doctrine became enshrined in U.S. law under the Supreme Court of Chief Justice John Marshall in 1823 in a case called Johnson v. McIntosh.
Johnson versus McIntosh. Two white men arguing over Ohio Indian land. He says, "You boys have it all wrong. Don't you understand? This was settled long ago. They don't have a right of title to land." And he moved that principle into U.S. federal law, 1823. The doctrine of discovery.
The principle has been asserted in the first instance, and afterwards sustained. It becomes the law of the land and cannot be questioned. Now, this isn't just an extravagant pretension. It's absurd. So in other words, if you can make an absurd claim early on and not have it challenged, it just becomes law. But there are major problems in applying the doctrine of Christian discovery to the Oneidas. Marshall actually created this racist legal foundation and then weakened it with his extravagant pretension. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the liberal darling. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is praised as a liberal champion of human rights. She's Jewish and should have some sense of the plight of the oppressed and the displaced. But here you have this Jewish Supreme Court justice relying on a racist 15th century Christian dogma to make her rulings. If papal bulls from the 1400s can be enshrined in U.S. law, then why can't modern, internationally accepted standards unseat some of these extravagant pretensions? In 2007, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples. The third affirmation of that declaration affirms that all doctrines, policies, and practices based on or advocating superiority of peoples or individuals on the basis of national origin or racial, religious, ethnic, or cultural differences are racist, scientifically false, legally invalid, morally condemnable, and socially unjust.
7 main meanings: to subjugate, to subdue, to force into subservience, to tame, to domesticate, to cultivate, and to till. To cultivate in Latin is colere, which means to colonize or design. When you take the root of colonize, you have colon, which is the digestive tract of the body politic that is coming in invasively into the lands and territories of indigenous nations and peoples. And that colonizing, digesting activity makes that predator body politic a devouring, consuming body that's coming in invasively on top of the original nations and peoples.
Reparatory justice is also crucial to realize racial equality and atone for the enduring legacy of centuries of enslavement and colonialism.
The doctrine of discovery became the doctrine of law today. Christian doctrine, specific. Wasn't Muslim doctrine, wasn't Jewish doctrine, Christian.
Fuck the doctrine of discovery. Fuck the United States of America. Fuck Christian supremacy. Fuck Christmas. Fuck Jesus Christ.